All right. Well, welcome to episode 6, being bipolar. One of the things that was mentioned to me that I should actually try and do a podcast while my mind is not focused and I'm feeling manic. And one of those things. It's hard to do that when you've built so many walls. You know, there are issues when I've taken many years to put up fail-safe walls that stops me from going into a full-blown manic session. So when I thought about doing this kind of episode, it's like, okay, let me try it out. So I've taken about 2 hours going through anxiety issues, breaking those walls down so I can go ahead and do an episode while I'm unfocused. I'm going to try and do a topic of movies and music to help your mind uh, figure its triggers out, um, and how to control your emotions, your feelings using things like music or movies or books. I'll give you a prime example. You start feeling anxious. Your mind starts going in so many different directions. You're not able to focus on what you need to do in hand. So you stop everything and you put on some music. Now, a lot of us in the different generations that we grew up in, we have some great music to pick from. My generation, man, 80s, 90s music, you could not go wrong. I mean, to be honest, uh, my generation of music makes all these other, how do I say, the performers you see now, it puts them to sleep. I just, you can't compare. Some of the greatest performers in music acts came out of the 80s and the 90s. And I want to thank what came out of the 60s and 70s to give us what we have today. So, as I was getting into high school years, that's when the long hair music came out, the 80s, the power ballads, the metal riffs, and music became my outlet, my focus. So, whenever in my mind at the time, I would go up into my room, put on my music, and I wasn't lucky enough to have the music and the ability to get it like you guys do today. I had to listen to the radio, if not tapes and vinyl that I had collected. But the music started helping me as puberty was hitting. And I was in choir in middle school and in high school. I can sing, and a lot of you who know me knows that because of choir, the music. I learned early on because of my attraction to music and its ability to calm my mind down and let me focus. I went everywhere with it. I went through different genres. I went through. I, Man, I was a fan of the Spice Girls. I was a fan of Simon and Garfunkel. I was a fan of Venom and Slayer. One of my favorites, Michael Jackson. I mean, I have a broad spectrum of music that ties me to my feelings as I got older. My taste in music changed. I came up with my own favorites because that group or individual helped me not only go back into a time where I can remember actually feeling good about myself and where I was at in my life. Every time I hear a different song that takes me back to a time, whether it was good or bad, that song or that genre, it made me feel good. Even if the thoughts and the memories were bad, the fact that I was able to remember. Because my biggest fear with my illness is I'm going to lose touch. And I am going to try and figure things out the hard way. And I'll have my music, I'll have my movies. I'll have to rely on those in order to get my memory straight, my realism straight. As for movies, I'll sit down and I'll get focused into a movie. And, my mind, the way it works is I will put myself into that movie. I will become a character in it, not the main character. I would be a side character just watching things go or saying stupid things because actually the monologue or the script, whatever it is, sucks, and I'm losing base with enjoying what I'm watching, then I kind of tend to throw in my own thing. I do that with music too. When I have a favorite song, I will sing different lyrics to it, and the people I'm around will notice it. And they will say, hey, that's not the way it goes. And I'll tell them, I know. They changed it. When I wrote it, it went this way. It's in for a good laugh. Everybody, it breaks the ice, and something ignorant that I do a lot of. There's little tiny things that I'm always going to do to try and entertain people around me. If you're laughing, you're feeling joy, you're feeling happiness. And that's a great thing. That's something that you want to pay forward. Okay? So, I don't mean to throw people off their game, but all in all, when you're happy and you're smiling, the conversation usually gets a lot better. Less tension, more honesty, and sitting around, burning trees, listening to music, or getting into a movie with people that you trust and that are happy and smiling around you. Those are good memories, okay? Those are something that your mind will have embedded deep inside now because it is a happy, joyful feeling. And the music that you're listening to or the movie that you're watching, your mind will go back every time you hear it or see it. And you'll have good memories attached to whatever it is you're doing. You know, people have book clubs. Book clubs are a great idea. It truly is because you sit around with people, you're enjoying it. It doesn't matter what the genre really is. If you enjoy it, you'll read the book, you'll talk with your friends about it. Those are great things to have. If you're not a reader, don't have a book club, have a music club. You sit around with your guys once a week and you listen to music. You talk about what it means to you, where you were at when it first came out. Little things, but you're in a group of individuals that you're building a trust around. I mean, there's going to be one or two in that group that you're going to have a little tension with. That always happens. Alphas butt heads, betas praying and biting up to the alphas. It happens. It's primal. Okay, we all do it. But as I was getting back to, you can have a movie club. Just get with your friends and sit around, do something together that you can build memories with. And I guarantee you that the people around you, when you start showing progress in having relationships, it does good for the self esteem. Self esteem and being one with yourself and understanding who you are and how your mind develops, what your triggers are. It, there's so many factors into that. So when you're able to sit down and have a distraction from reality, like right now, my son is off playing D&D. There's a big one. I did it all through high school. I did a couple of campaigns with TJ and with his friends. I did one with his friends and one with TJ and the family. And it's just it's you're with a group of people, you're not really you. You're playing a character you enjoy building, and now you want to see what they do. You're going to get out of reality completely and get into a fantasy world where you're creating. Yes, you have a dungeon master, but yet it's your character, it's you, but in a whole different world. You can be the person that you want to be without any problems or issues. No one's fighting you. So, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with your friends, with your family. There's the infamous game night, even though there are individuals out there who do not like playing games. I'm one of them. I'm not a very big game fan. I guess it's the fact that I dominated my sister so many years playing board games that it just it got simple, you know. It all started with shooting some ladders, and she would get mad and throw the board, and we would get in trouble. Then there was like games like, oh, I don't, Candyland and Trouble and Sorry and things like, and I beat her every time. And I guess when it got to Monopoly, that's when it got bad. Yeah, there was a lot of board throwing there. I think they actually are using the picture of one of our games on a meme that's going around on Facebook that my sister had sent to me. So she understood. She knew where it was coming from. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, distracting your mind. And I can't believe I've gone off. I'm still going on the same thing, but I got to tell you, this is a pretty important one. If you're trying to figure out ways to calm your mind down, then music was my go-to. I started playing music. I was singing. I picked up a guitar, started playing. My dad saw it, and he took me over to the local, Shenandoah Music guitar shop, and got me a Phantom guitar. Now, I had no idea what I was doing, so my dad also hooked me up with the teacher there. Now, I am a 13, 14-year-old kid who's getting into music because he heard for the first time Metallica. I heard Ride the Lightning. Once I heard that, it changed my entire world. So it was like, wow. And it was an offbeat underground. Okay. So it wasn't on it was still on Elektra, I do believe. Either case, it was an early copy of Ride the Lightning that had come out. I was blown away. So I wanted a guitar. I wanted to make those sounds that James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett were making. I wanted Dave Mustaine. God bless his soul. Love that man to death. Anyway, I got hooked. My dad noticed how much I really wanted to do it, and he knew. So I picked up the Phantom. I did not have an amp, so I hooked up at my teaching sessions. And Bill, he was my teacher, I would get into like just hitting the open E string. I'd start crunching away, and it didn't have much distortion on it, but man, I was creating a crunch. And it was like, wow, man, even an open E, I was like, yeah. So, make a short story long, I got hooked up on the open E, open A, back and forth, listening to the radio, Fox radio station, whatever, and was recording songs. Bon Jovi was getting big, and Cinderella was riding the coattails, and you had uh, Motley Crue was hitting it, Dokken, Rat, but Metallica, man, I got a back tape of Kill 'Em All. Oh yeah, man, made my nipples hard. Anywho, back at the ranch, I would listen, I would record, I would have issues with some of the songs they were playing because it wasn't my thing, but now I look back and I actually enjoy a lot of those. But the music that I mainly listened to was because it calmed me, it relaxed me. It also had lyrics that I could actually enjoy and relate to. And Metallica has some great lyrics coming from James at the time, but you're starting to get political, like with Slayer, with Megadeth. Um, Listening to the issues of the lyrics as I'm crunching away, it affects the way your mind goes when you're dealing with music, because then it gives it a meaning. It gives it a whole different level of understanding why it means so much to you. So you're giving songs more levels of meaning, okay? Because you're putting your feelings into it, you're also putting thought into it, a memory into it. So at different levels, your mind and your emotions, your heart and soul, is all coming back to that one spot, that one particular time that you have that memory. And at times when you're going through therapy for yourself, when you're trying to understand what your triggers are and where they're coming from, when you're listening to music trying to figure these things out, sometimes your mind floats off because you're comfortable listening to that song. You're in a comfortable spot. So your mind is going to feel free. That's when I recommend having pen and paper around, man. Because once your mind is free, you're going to come up with some off the wall things that you're going to wish that you would remember. Okay? And you don't have to be high to do this. You could be sitting there drinking a few beers and reminiscing, listening to that long hair metal going back to high school, and it's like, man, I could have done that better. Remember that. If you've got kids and grandkids, pass on the knowledge. I mean, you've got people around you that you surround yourself, hopefully, with people who care. Well, Pass your knowledge around. You know, just off the wall while you're around your friends, say something. Hey, you know what? An ostrich is bigger than a peacock, but which one will get laid first? Okay? So, stupid things like that. Watch what your friends do. You know? Memories, they're a beautiful thing. And the music, the movies, my first movie that ever affected me, that I still go to, it's my number one favorite movie of all time. Conan the Barbarian, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I watched that. I was 12, and I got a copy of it on a Betamax. Yeah, I said it, Betamax. I'm dating myself, so what? Okay. Anyway, man, I watched this and that opened my world. My fantasy world just got, triple in size. Man, not only was there great sex scenes in it, but dude, there was a lot of killing, blood splattering. It was just complete mayhem at one point. But you know what? Now, even at this age, I can recite word for word every piece of that movie. And I can never watch it with friends or family. Even my wife could not handle watching that movie around me because I would be doing every character, every line. So I apologize for anybody for that. The second one, about the same time frame, was Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. A lot of times, these movies that are on my list have double layers of meaning to them. They come to me at a time where life was so much simpler. There was no divorce among parents. There was no marital issues in any sight anywhere. The one dramatic thing that I can think of that happened at that time was the death of my grandfather. So these movies were hitting me at the same time as puberty. I'm not going to lie, Conan the Barbarian introduced me to the, let's see, how do I word this correctly? I liked and enjoyed myself over and over again. Conan the Barbarian, man, when you're 12, 13, and you don't know what's going on, but you got a surprise, yeah, you learn quickly. Anyways, Star Wars. Well, that was the one that completely opened everything. The reason being, Star Wars, the first movie, was the first movie that my father and I went to the movies to see in 1977. We were living in Manassas. My dad was stationed at the Pentagon, and I got the weekends with him. And we in Manassas, it Manassas was a turning point. I was young. I was 7, 8 years old. I'm not quite sure how old I really was, but Star Wars and my father, it's a great memory. But I was also introduced in Manassas, a family that has been in my life for, I would say, 45, 44 years. I'm not going to say their name out, but if they are listening or if you know who I'm talking about, they structured my life. But we'll get to that later. With Star Wars and my father, when I got to see Empire Strikes Back, I I don't know who I saw it with. I don't know at the time what I was doing, where I was, because it's a blank memory, and I don't know why it was shut out. I do know I have layered feelings because of this movie, but I can't pinpoint why. So, it's one of those things I'll sit and I'll watch the movie and I will free my mind and try and figure out why. It's just one of those things that when your mind and your ability to process things are so much different, and I put things in different compartments in my mind so it's easier for me to look for. And I guess that movies do a big thing for that for me. Like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. I was watching that movie and it scared the hell out of me. It literally did. And for some odd reason, I put on the radio at the same time. Now, I don't understand why I did it, but at the same time I got scared, the song Toto from Africa came on. Now, mind you, I have no idea why, but my mind, every time I watch that movie, I have to have Toto, Africa, on. I have to. It's just something that makes me do it. I bought the movie on Vudu. I've got the song on my Amazon. It's ready to go whenever I feel like watching a movie. But I understand. But my mind, yeah, I have to do it. So, but all in all, music, movies. It doesn't matter if you're high. It doesn't matter if you're low. Listen to music that you believe will make you feel better. And it doesn't matter who it is or what genre. Make sure that it's a good memory you're looking for. Something to help your esteem. Bring up who you are. You're learning how to deal with a lot of different things at once. The world has given you so much to deal with. So, let's deal with it. Find out your ways of dealing with it. Talk to somebody. Be in somebody's life that you trust. That you can sit and talk to for about a half an hour about stupid shit and something to give you hope is what we all need. Is hope. So, all in all, this episode is over. I'd like to say good night, Godspeed, and I love you. This is Doobie Snacks. Out.